You watch some compelling cricket in those 20 overs at Dubai between Rajasthan and Kolkata. Should make for a terrific halftime chat on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. Deep Das Gupta, Ajit Agarkar saw every ball of that innings, and it was a treat to watch. 174 for six. I'm curious to know who the happier team, in your opinion, is going into the halftime. Deep, you first. Who's happier with that score?
I think that's a pass score. I think it's a 50-50 score. Obviously, Andre Russell, he didn't really fire, but that I kind of like the idea of promoting him at number 4. If he had clicked, then obviously this would have been a above par score. But I think 174 is not a bad score at all.
Par score above par. We find out in 20 overs from now. Ajit, what do you make of that?
Good score, I think. I think at one point didn't look like they'll get to that score. I thought they'd probably end up somewhere around the 160. Rajasthan did well. I think Jofra Archer obviously leading from the front. It was quite hostile actually. All his 4 overs today. Uh, but for Morgan's finish, they wouldn't have got that. So I think that they'd be happy that they've got to the score, and Rajasthan will have to bat well against a good attack if they have to get there.
Yeah, let's talk about that then. We spent a lot of time discussing Andre Russell in the pre-match show and whether he should come in at a certain point. Deep put the situation as well. If they go have a good start in 10 overs, you could consider sending Andre Russell. So let's first discuss what you made of the decision for Russell to come out. He came in the 12th over it was, and when he did come out, were we surprised? Sorry, he came in the 11th over with the score at 82 for 2. So was that a good call at that time, Deep, when Andre Russell came out?
I thought so. I think that's the kind of situation we kind of took as an example also. 9 overs 80, 10 overs 80, 8 runs and over. And obviously, and I also mentioned in the pre-show the fact that because Morgan is there this year round, who has this habit of batting at number 4, 5 and finishing off games. So you have that luxury of sending somebody like Andre Russell top of the order. What it also did was made sure that Jofra Archer would finish his quota of 4 overs before the death overs.
Yeah, let's talk about that phase then, Ajit. It was fascinating. Andre Russell comes out, Jofra Archer gets the ball, 12th over, 1 run, 1 wicket, 14th over, 2 runs, 1 wicket. Take me through that phase. Must have been very pleasing for you to watch the fast bowler, like you rightly said, be quite hostile to the batting.
Yeah, it was quite exciting actually. Not many times do you see in a T20 game where fast bowlers on top since the start. I think he just set the tone with that first over, and it was good old-fashioned sort of length, backer length bowling. But he's such a good bowler. His actions just so straight. Everything's in sync. Everything's in one straight line. That it's so difficult to pick how much the ball is going to bounce. And we saw that. That wicket of Dinesh Karthik, you don't see that too often in T20 cricket. Just a good length ball, extra bounce, a little bit of leg cut. Just fascinating to watch and really hostile, aggressive. You could see Andre Russell didn't really fancy it in that over. But the good part about Andre Russell was he survived that. And that was the thing that we were talking about before the game. Can he do that? Can he get through those overs or the difficult bowlers who are likely to get him out, because we've seen the rest of them he can dominate.
So what are your thoughts of that phase of play, Deep? Because we're going to look back at the end of the game and think, was that the phase that kept Kolkata quiet, or were Kolkata brilliant to even get to 170 after that phase? So just take me through what your thoughts were when Jofra Archer was bowling through that 12th and 14th over.
I think both came out of it pretty much happy, because obviously Jofra picked up those 2 wickets, could have got the wicket of Morgan as well. And then the story would have been totally different. Tom Curran drop a catch of Morgan of the last delivery. So it could have been totally different if they had picked up Morgan then I don't think they would have reached 174. So I think that spell was absolutely phenomenal piece of fast bowling. And yeah, it looked very good from the outside. I'm sure as a batsman, you would hate to face somebody bowling like that.
Let's talk about how Russell played that innings, and we spoke of this in the show before, Rajit, on whether he's playing according to situations or hitting every ball out. He survived Jofra Archer and then took on Ankit Rajput. The wicket seemed well thought of, full and wide outside, and you called it even before. Did the Russell innings make sense to you? Could he have played a little differently to hang on towards the end, given what Deep said, that Jofra Archer already bowled 3 by the time Rajput was bowling that over?
Yeah, not really. I mean, the ball was there. That's the area you would want to be away from Russell's arc. Really goes deep in the crease. A lot of his hitting is, on the leg side or tries to use the length. So this was full. The field was placed for that particular ball, and credit to the bowler to execute it. There'd be other days where there's a thicker edge and it goes to third man, which is in the ring, and the batsman gets away with it. But the thought is right, and that is what matters. It may not work on every day. I think his innings was okay. He took on the spinner, which is good. Sort of got through that Archer over just about. Did have a swing at the fifth ball, which he didn't connect. So look, people know what kind of damage he can do and what are the areas that he hits. It's not easy to always stop him, but at least if you have the ammunition, which Rajasthan seemed to in Archer and Ankit Rajput, a little bit of speed, that certainly helps at this stage, because otherwise he can take you apart every single over, which then becomes very difficult to stop.
Yeah. Steve Smith on the money, Deep. First over Archer, didn't give him any more, and then 12th and 14th to Russell.
Absolutely. I thought, the way he handled the bowlers was absolutely brilliant. Getting Jofra Archer to bowl the 12th over, then the 14th over. Yeah. That's a calculated risk that you take with Andre Russell there, because one, you actually get those overs done early, but also the fact that and cheaply, but also putting on pressure on someone like Andre Russell, who is used to scoring at a very brisk pace. So now when suddenly you have 7 balls 7 for Andre Russell, I'm sure he's also thinking to try and take some extra risk against the other bowlers. So I think that's a calculated risk, which is worth going for, and it almost paid off. Again, I'm saying this, Morgan, if he had got Morgan of that last delivery of his spell, it would have been brilliant for RR. Then I don't think KKR would have reached 174.
Right. Let's talk about Morgan's innings then. That what was he? He was on 8 at the time that he was dropped. 8 of 12. So it was a bit of a struggle. That was the last ball of Jofra's spell at the end of the 17th over, and he's gone on to get a very handy, if you look at the circumstances, 23 ball 34. Could that be a telling moment? Morgan giving him that push to take the score past 170, Ajit?
Yeah, they needed that. They seem to be stuck a little bit after, again, really good innings from Shubman Gill, but they didn't seem to go anywhere. Russell had a bit of a cameo, so they needed that. Little bit surprised that Unadkat didn't get another go, because he's just bowled 2 overs. Ankit Rajput went for a few. Look, I sort of understand the idea behind it, a bit more pace and a decent Yorker, or even the short ball which they attempted against Morgan early on in his innings. So that is always an option when you have a little bit of speed. So that was a little bit of surprise, but good innings from Morgan. You sort of hung in there at the start. Wasn't easy when Archer was going hard at them, but managed to get that. I think 174 on a lot of days, teams with decent bowling attacks will take it. It's not a total which is walk in the park for the opposition chasing. So they'll eventually be. They would have ideally liked 10, 15 more runs, but I think they'd still be happy.
Yeah, and we mentioned Shubman Gill, top scorer for the second game running for KKR, Deep, and at a time when Sunil Narayan was struggling, Nitish Rana took a little time. Class innings again from Shubman?
Absolutely. The way he handled Jofra Archer, Tom Curran, these are all international bowlers and top-class international bowlers. Again, the ease with which he batted. He was never felt as if he was hurried by Jofra Archer. Jofra Archer was bowling high 140s, right? Didn't seem like he was hurried off the back foot or front foot. And obviously against the other bowlers, he looked absolutely top class again.
Is there anything to suggest spin could play a role here? Look like Jofra Archer was the standout bowler of the first half. KKR have potentially 12 overs of spin. Ajit, is spin going to play a role here, or is it going to be the pacers that have to do the damage if they are to defend this?
Yeah, no, I think looks a good pitch. I think spin will certainly play a role. Someone like a Narayan will have a big say in the game if he can bowl well. But I don't think it will be from the pitch. It'll just be the quality of the spin more than the pitch really assisting. We'll have to wait and see. We've seen a little bit of dew as well, and bowlers have struggled a little bit when it's gotten a bit greasy. So that might play into Rajasthan's hand, but we'll have to wait and see. I don't think the pitch is really going to spin.
I'm not going to get it. Yes, Deep, please.
Quickly add, bowlers like Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan, who does not really turn the ball a lot, I think on surfaces like this, that makes it a little more, I would say comparatively easier, because one, they have to bowl straight. So they'll be attacking the stumps, that is one. And also the pace of the surface as well, I think would obviously bring them into the picture as well.
All right. I'm not going to reignite the Sunil Narayan opening conversation because I know where the two of you stand on it. But he's given us another talking point after today. So next game, hopefully, we'll take it forward. What I do want to ask you is, and tell me if it's a pattern developing only at Dubai. Why are there so many catches that are going down? Kevin Peterson mentioned on air in Dubai, I think once, that he thinks the LED placement of LED panels and screens around the ground in what's a new experience for fielders could be a factor. But we're seeing a lot of errors in judgment in the field, Ajit. I don't know if it's happening in Abu Dhabi from the games that you all are covering from the ground. What do you make of it?
I mean, there were a couple of drops, but not as many. I think from what I've not played in Dubai, so I don't have first-hand experience or I haven't been to the ground. But from what I hear, the lights around the stand are seem to be a little bit difficult because even if the ball goes above them, when it's on its way down, it does pass through those lights, and it is a little bit of. It'll be interesting to hear from one of the fielders or one of the captains. Hopefully, somebody puts the question to them because there have been a few drops. Now, whether
Yeah.
it's lights that is causing it or it's just bad judgment from the fielders, and it's just sometimes you're too casual under a ball when you see it's a easy chance. Only the fielder will be able to tell us. But it'd be nice to put that question to the captain. But it certainly feels like there are a few issues at Dubai.
Yeah, I think it's specific to the ground, to the We're not seeing as much of this at Sharjah and Abu Dhabi, and this is Rajasthan's first game in Dubai. Deep?
Yeah, I mean, listen, with the number of drops, I guess, I mean, you would like to believe that there is a genuine issue with citing anything that goes up. Secondly, I mean, obviously, keeping in mind that there is an issue, I think more and more teams would start practicing taking high catches every time they go out to practice on that venue there. But by looking at the number of drop catches and from the fielders that are dropping those catches, I think it seems to be a genuine issue there.
All right. I was going to come to whether KKR would go the same way and try Pat Cummins with the new ball. Sunil Narayan has the new ball for now. It's Smith and Butler at the top. You'd like to see Pat Cummins from the other end, Ajit, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. You can understand why Sunil Narayan's given a go. Two guys who they think he might have a chance against spin, but Pat Cummins has to bowl the second over.
Deep, last word from you, gut feeling, as well as thoughts of the new first 6 overs?
I think this is going to be a close game. I reckon this is going to be a close game. Won't mind a super over either.
Really? Well, that's nice of you. Okay. You have to work more. I'm okay with that. Thanks very much, Deep Das Gupta, Ajit Agarkar. Let's follow the next 20, or if Deep would have his way, next 22 overs of cricket and pick up this conversation at the end of what should be a fascinating run chase. Join us then for post-match comments from Ajit Agarkar and Deep Das Gupta on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricket Info T20 Timeout, powered by Dell.